cheered my coolest years.
Check this out. This is the house that AJ and I grew up in as teenage metalheads in the glory days of metal. I remember that my first record I bought with my own money was AC/DC Back in Black. That was the big turning point for me as a metal kid.
Yeah, so I would say what metal found us, maybe?
Or we found metal.
Metal found us, and then we seeked out more metal, and we found it. Wow, this was my room, and it was so metal. It was so decked out when I lived here, and now it's like a trip, dude. It's totally different. Obviously, belongs to a girl now.
This was my teenage metal room when I was growing up, and I can't believe it. It's such a trip being in here. This was taken right in this room. Look, check out my Joe Elliott mullet, my Def Leppard do at that point. There was a theme there. So we could recreate the photo in the bedroom. Hey, we're lit. This is where we went to high school, where we were teenage metalheads, and we ruled. We're gonna show you right now. Let's go! Oh, here we go. Here's what you used to write. Heavy metal, rock and roll, drink a fifth, smoke a bowl.
Sums it all up. Every once in a while, you'd see one of the cooler Hessians kind of sitting at the table with the cheerleaders.
The guy with the really long hair.
Yeah, the longest hair.
The guy with the best brush. Probably our favorite time of the day when we were in high school was lunchtime. Here's the cafeteria behind us. Most of the time, all the Hessians would meet up and we'd cruise out in the parking lot into someone's van and we would do things we weren't really supposed to do. We'd go over to the metal table over here.
Try to sneak a smoke behind the tree or under the table or whatever.
For instance, right now, you probably can't even tell that I have a cigarette. This is the old technique we used to use when we were hanging out and we'd avoid the narcs and we would just kind of, when they would turn their back, we'd go.
Metalheads like to lay low. They like to hang out in areas where most people aren't hanging out.
Corners and behind things. We like to hang out behind stuff.
The last day of school, dude, when you the coolest thing was going to your locker and just hucking everything out because you knew you didn't care, you didn't need anything anymore. Hucking your books if you're really super.
You know what?
Actually,
I actually got on the last day of school in sophomore year. I got suspended the first day of school in my junior year for doing that very same thing.
Dude, you had to do it.
Which is just extended my summer like an extra day. It was real bad punishment.
This here was our backyard when we were kids, when we were teenage metalheads, and we had many, many nights hanging out when our parents were gone and when we were drinking beer when we weren't supposed to be and having our friends over, listening to music. And
the perfect backyard for a metal party. There's nothing to screw up. Band would set up on the patio.
You charge $3 to get in around the corner, the gate. You have your biggest friend you have charging $3.
Chicks for free.
Chicks free.
Oh yeah. Heavy metal chicks back in the day, especially the older ones, were almost like your older sister. They were the ones that had better cars and they had jobs and they would take you out to Denny's afterwards and buy you food and they always had wine coolers in their car.
I think the metal chicks were definitely more into sex than say the cheerleaders.
So I never went to prom.
Dude, that's the thing about metalheads is they don't go to prom until they're they've graduated. They're your metalhead's 21 and he goes to prom with an 17, 18-year-old.
That's exactly what I did. I went to prom a couple years later with a heavy metal chick.
We started our band when we were still in high school. So we would on occasion we'd be passing out flyers. We had flyers for our shows. So we weren't just the metalheads. We were metalheads that actually had a reason to be, because we were in a band. So that helped.
We had this kid, Joey, who we don't know what happened to him, but he actually carved Ozzy in his knuckles with a razor blade and ink from a ballpoint pen. And I'm just wondering, now that he's 32, if it still says Ozzy all faded, kind of messed up on his hand. But...
Coming up, reflections on a life dedicated to metal.
This is a shrine to our metal youth.
We're sitting outside of the house we grew up in as metalheads, and I'm looking down and I saw my name carved into the ground, which I don't remember doing. And then as I look around, I noticed Jeremy.
I wrote my name in full heavy metal Def Leppard style letters.
The Maiden
87 with the Iron Maiden symbol right there. This is a shrine to our metal youth. Maybe someday if we're killed in a tragic accident or somewhere, there'll be candles out here and people will come and write their name on the curb and stuff. Or maybe there's pour beer on it like that, or just pee on it.
The metalhead fantasy is all it was cracked up to be. It's a beautiful thing.
There's a venue about a half hour from here called Irvine Meadows, And that we went to a lot of heavy metal concerts there back in the day. And we actually got to play there a few times since then. And that's been like the ultimate remembering being that kid in the lawn section, you know,
Yeah.
just like trying to jump the wall to get closer to the stage. And then now we're walking around backstage and our tour bus is back there. And it's like full circle, like what we dreamed about when we were kids. And
Insane.
so it's all good.